You spent hundreds of dollars on a custom night guard, but you still wake up with massive jaw pain and headaches. Why? Because protecting your teeth is not the same thing as relaxing your jaw. Today we are exposing why your night guard might actually be triggering you to clench harder. This video is for educational purposes only. Jaw pain, especially if it radiates to the neck, arm, or is accompanied by chest tightness, can be an atypical symptom of a heart attack, particularly in women. Seek emergency medical attention if you suspect cardiac issues. Never ignore acute, severe joint pain. If you are waking up feeling like you chewed rocks all night, I want you to know something right away. You're not crazy, you're not weak, and you are not failing at self-care. Bruxism can happen without you realizing it, whether you are awake or asleep, and jaw pain can overlap with heart attack warning signs, which is why any radiating jaw pain with chest symptoms must be treated seriously. Now let me say this gently and clearly. Your dentist probably meant well. A night guard can be useful because it separates the teeth and helps protect enamel from damage. But according to the National Institute of Dental and Craniofacial Research, intraoral appliances do not change the teeth or bite, and there is not a lot of evidence that they improve TMD pain. In other words, the guard may protect the surface, while the muscle problem keeps running in the background. That is why so many people say, "I did everything right, and I still woke up sore." The tooth surface may be shielded, but the jaw muscles can still be working overtime. And when those muscles stay hyperactive through the night, you can wake up with a tight jaw, a pounding temple, or that deep, exhausted feeling like your face never really rested. Here is the part most people never get told. Bruxism is not just a bad habit. The NIDCR describes it as clenching, grinding, or counter thrusting that often happens without you realizing it, and it can happen in the daytime or at night. That means the real problem is not simply the teeth touching too hard. The real problem is that the nervous system has learned a pattern and keeps replaying it. So when someone wakes up with jaw pain, they are often being blamed for a symptom that is bigger than willpower. They are being told to protect the teeth, while no one is fully addressing the system behind the clench. That is why the story needs to shift from "What gadget can I wear?" to "Why is my body choosing tension in the first place?" So in this masterclass, we are going to do something very different. We are not going to blame you. We are not going to shame you. And we are not going to pretend that a piece of plastic magically teaches a tense jaw how to relax. We are going to look at the deeper pattern. We are going to ask what your body is trying to protect you from. And we are going to start moving from surface-level damage control toward a more intelligent plan for calm, relief, and long-term change. Because the truth is simple. Protecting your teeth is not the same thing as relaxing your jaw. And once you understand that difference, everything starts to make sense. Let's be very precise here. A night guard is not evil. For many people, it does one important job well. It protects the teeth from wear and cracking. But the National Institute of Dental and Craniofacial Research is clear that intraoral appliances do not change the teeth or bite. And there is not a lot of evidence that they improve TMD pain. So the trap is not that the guard is bad. The trap is believing that protecting enamel automatically means the jaw system has been calmed. It does not. That is why so many patients wake up and think, "I wore the expensive device. Why do I still feel wrecked?" Because the pain generator is often not the tooth surface. It is the muscle system, the nervous system, and the breathing system that are still firing all night. Now, here's the part that patients often describe and clinicians need to take seriously. Once a foreign object sits between the teeth, the brain gets new sensory input from the bite. That sensory shift can change how the jaw is perceived. Because occlusal proprioception, The jaw's sense of position and contact is real, and it matters. Some studies have found that clenching while wearing an occlusal splint can change awareness of tiredness and bite force, which helps explain why some people feel like they are testing the guard all night instead of relaxing into it. That is not weakness. That is a nervous system response. And this is why I want you to hear this carefully. If a splint makes you feel more tense, more aware of your jaw, or more sore in the morning, that is not something to muscle through. NIDCR specifically says to stop using the appliance and consult your dentist or doctor if it causes pain. Now let's talk about Botox, because I know a lot of people have been told it is the answer. Botox can temporarily weaken the masseter and reduce overactivity, and that is exactly why some people feel short-term relief. But temporary relief is not the same thing as solving the driver of the clench. Recent reviews continue to describe Botox as a symptom-focused intervention whose effects wear off, with muscle function commonly recovering over months. And because Botox reduces muscle activity, repeated use can come with trade-offs. The literature reports muscle atrophy, reduced masticatory function, and in some studies, changes in mandibular bone quality or bone loss-related findings after masticatory muscle injections. The key phrase there is "in some studies," because the long-term human picture is still being studied. But the concern is real enough that anyone offering Botox for jaw tension should discuss it openly, not casually. So here's the whistleblower message. Both night guards and Botox can have a place, but neither one automatically fixes the biology that created the clench. One protects the teeth, the other quiets a muscle. But if the underlying driver is still there, airway resistance, sleep fragmentation, chronic stress, or a nervous system stuck in fight or flight, the body can simply find another way to keep bracing. Bruxism is a masticatory muscle activity that can happen during sleep or while you are awake, and severe cases can be tied to jaw pain, headache, and tiredness. That is why the right question is not, which gadget should I buy next? The right question is, what is my body still trying to protect itself from? And once you ask that question honestly, the whole conversation changes, because now you are no longer chasing the teeth. You are looking at the system. You're looking at sleep, breathing, posture, stress physiology, and the muscle patterns that keep the jaw locked in defense mode. That is where real progress starts. That is where the next layer of healing begins. If your current treatment is only protecting enamel, but leaving you with morning pain, then the plan is incomplete. Not because you failed, but because the root cause was never fully addressed. Now we get to the root layer. Bruxism is not just about bad teeth habits. NIDCR describes bruxism as clenching, grinding, or jaw thrusting that often happens without you realizing it, and it may occur during sleep or while awake. It also notes that sleep bruxism may help keep the airway open during sleep apnea. In sleep medicine research, sleep bruxism is commonly seen alongside obstructive sleep apnea and other sleep-disordered breathing patterns. That does not mean every grinder has sleep apnea, but it does mean the airway question deserves attention. So when somebody says, "Why would my jaw clench in my sleep?" the answer is often, because the body is trying to stabilize something. Sometimes that something is breathing. This is where airway-focused dentistry matters. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine note that oral appliance therapy can reduce sleep-disordered breathing. And one mechanism is that a custom appliance helps maintain an open airway by protruding and stabilizing the mandible. In plain English, jaw position and airway space are linked. That is why an airway-focused dentist does not look only at enamel wear. They look at breathing, snoring, jaw posture, and whether the system is trying to compensate overnight. That also means the bruxism story is bigger than the teeth. Your body may be using jaw tension as a survival strategy, especially if breathing is disrupted or sleep is fragmented. Now add the nervous system. NIDCR says bruxism is linked with factors including stress, anxiety, depression, and certain medications, and it recommends relaxation techniques, regular sleep, and reducing clenching habits. Research also supports an association between stress and bruxism, although the strength of that relationship varies across studies. So the safest scientific statement is this: stress can be a contributor, and a tense nervous system can keep the jaw in a protective pattern. That is why so many people feel jaw tension, neck tightness, and shoulder loading together. In clinical terms, the body is not simply being dramatic, it is maintaining a high alert pattern. And I need to be very direct here. Never file, shave, grind, or try to reshape your own teeth at home to fix a bite. NIDCR specifically advises staying away from treatments that cause permanent changes to the jaw joints, teeth, or bite. If a treatment is permanently changing your bite, that is not a DIY project. That is a reason to stop and get evaluated by a qualified professional. This is the moment to seek an airway-focused dentist, and in many cases, a sleep physician and physical therapist as well. NIDCR notes, dentists can refer patients to physical therapy or sleep medicine, and physical therapy can help with jaw and neck function. So here is the shift. Stop thinking of your jaw as the enemy. Start thinking of it as a protective system that may be overworking because breathing, stress, or both are still unresolved. NIDCR also notes that many jaw joint and muscle problems can improve with conservative care such as relaxation, gentle exercises, and physical therapy. And that manual therapy can help relieve pain and improve function. That is where the conversation gets hopeful. Because once you stop chasing the teeth alone, you can finally start treating the system. And that is the bridge to real relief. Now we move from blame to strategy. You cannot solve a breathing problem or a nervous system problem with a piece of plastic alone. NIDCR's TMD guidance emphasizes conservative care first. Soft foods, heat or cold, gentle jaw exercises, reducing clenching habits, self-management, relaxation techniques, and behavioral approaches such as CBT and biofeedback. It also states that manual therapy can improve function and relieve pain. That is the real starting point for people who wake up with a locked jaw and a body that feels like it never came down from alert mode. So the goal is no longer just protect the teeth. The goal is to teach the jaw, neck, and nervous system how to stop bracing. This is where an airway-focused dentist matters. The sleep medicine and dental sleep care guidelines state that oral appliance therapy can help maintain an open and unobstructed airway during sleep by protruding and stabilizing the mandible, and that treatment should be provided by a qualified dentist using a custom titratable device after a sleep physician prescribes it. That is a very different goal than a generic night guard. An airway-focused dentist is looking at breathing, airway space, jaw posture, and how your system behaves overnight. And alongside that, a physical therapist can be a major piece of the puzzle. Mayo Clinic notes that physical therapy for TMJ can include exercises to stretch and strengthen jaw muscles, plus modalities like moist heat and TENS. And NIDCR says manual therapy can help improve function and relieve pain. So the solution is not one magic object. It is a coordinated plan to reduce strain and restore normal movement. That line matters. The American Heart Association says jaw pain can be one of the warning signs of a heart attack, especially when it appears with chest discomfort, arm pain, shortness of breath, nausea, or lightheadedness. And women can present with subtler symptoms. So if the jaw pain is sharp, unusual, radiating, or tied to chest pressure, do not assume it is just TMJ. Get urgent medical evaluation. Once that is ruled out, we can get serious about the true fix. Lowering the daily tension load that keeps your jaw, neck, and shoulders trapped in defense. That is exactly why a structured release blueprint can be so helpful as a lifestyle adjunct. The TMJ solution is designed to support the part of healing that devices and injections do not fully address. The physical tension trapped in the masseter, neck, and shoulder complex. Think of it as a daily reset routine that helps you practice relaxation, posture awareness, and muscle down training while you work with your dentist, physical therapist, or sleep doctor on the root cause. It is not a replacement for diagnosis. It is not a substitute for airway care or medical evaluation. It is a practical way to help your body stop feeling like it has to brace every night. And for many people, that makes the difference between surviving the night and finally starting to recover from it. Let's bring this all together. For so long, you may have believed that your jaw pain was a failure, that you just grind too much, or that you need more discipline or a better device. But now you can see the deeper truth. Your body is not broken. Your body is adaptive. It is trying to protect you. If you grind your teeth at night, it is not because you lack control. It is because your system, your airway, your nervous system, your muscles, is working overtime to keep you stable. And once you understand that, the shame starts to fall away. You are not the problem. The pattern is the problem, and patterns can be changed. So here's the shift I want you to carry forward. Stop focusing only on protecting your teeth and start focusing on relaxing your system, because protecting your teeth without calming your muscles is like putting a cover over a warning light. The signal is still there. The tension is still there. The root cause is still there. But when you begin to support your airway, when you begin to downregulate your nervous system, and when you actively release the chronic tension stored in your jaw, neck, and shoulders, that is when things begin to change, not overnight, but predictably, and most importantly, sustainably. So here is your next step. If this message resonates with you, do not ignore it. Seek out an airway-focused dentist. Work with a qualified physical therapist. If needed, explore a sleep evaluation. Build a team that looks at your whole system, not just your enamel. And if you want a structured way to start calming the physical tension today, you can explore the TMJ solution in the description below. It is a simple, targeted blueprint designed to help you release the jaw, neck, and shoulder tension that keeps feeding this cycle, while you address the deeper root causes with your healthcare providers. Because real healing is not about one tool. It is about the right combination applied consistently. And I want to leave you with this. Stop blaming yourself for grinding your teeth. Your body is trying to protect you. Shift your focus from protecting your teeth to relaxing your nervous system and opening your airway. Because when you do that, you are no longer fighting your body. You are finally working with it. And before we close, one more important reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. Jaw pain, especially if it radiates to the neck, arm, or is accompanied by chest tightness, can be an atypical symptom of a heart attack, particularly in women. Seek emergency medical attention if you suspect cardiac issues. Never ignore acute, severe joint pain. always consult with a qualified airway-focused dentist, physician, or physical therapist before starting or changing any treatment.